The fear of God is a concept that appears repeatedly in the Bible. For many, the word fear can cause confusion or even rejection. However, what does it really mean to fear God? Is it a paralyzing fear or a reverent respect? In this message, we will explore the biblical meaning of the fear of God, the difference between fear and reverent fear, and how this principle transforms our relationship with Him. What does it mean to fear God? Scripture tells us in Proverbs 9:10, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." Here, the fear of God does not refer to servile or terrifying fear, but to deep and reverent respect. Fearing God means recognizing His greatness, His authority, and His holiness. It is living with the awareness that He is the Creator and we are His creatures, subject to His will and His righteous judgment. The fear of God implies obedience, reverence, and a sincere desire to please Him. It is not a fleeting feeling, but an attitude of the heart that guides us to seek His justice and His truth in our daily lives. The difference between reverent fear and fear of God, fear and reverent fear, are two different things. The fear of God, in the negative sense, is what those who live in unrepentant sin feel. It is the terror of those who know they are under His judgment without having accepted His grace. This fear paralyzes, alienates, and produces despair. It is the fear that Adam and Eve felt after sinning in Eden when they hid from God's presence. On the other hand, reverent fear is what the children of God have. It is a fear filled with love that leads us to honor God, turn away from sin, and live in holiness. This fear does not distance us but brings us closer to Him. It helps us live with humility and complete trust in His love and mercy. Biblical examples of the fear of God. The Bible is full of examples of men and women who feared God in the right way. Abraham. When God asked him to sacrifice his son Isaac, Abraham obeyed because he trusted God. His reverent fear led him to unwavering faith. Genesis 22:12. Moses. When God appeared to him in the burning bush, Moses felt reverent fear and removed his sandals as a sign of respect. Exodus 3:5-6. The apostles. After Jesus' resurrection, the apostles lived with the fear of God, preaching the gospel with courage and obedience. Acts 9:31. The fear of God and our daily lives. The fear of God should be reflected in how we live. It is not just a theological concept, but a truth that transforms our character, decisions, and relationships with others. It leads us to turn away from sin. When we fear God, we distance ourselves from what displeases His holiness, not out of fear of punishment, but because we value His love and do not want to grieve Him. Proverbs 16:6. It gives us wisdom, as Proverbs 1:7 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge." True wisdom comes from recognizing God as the supreme authority. It motivates us to obey Him. A believer who fears God obeys His word, not out of obligation, but out of love and gratitude. Deuteronomy 10:12-13. The balance between fear and love. Some people believe that fearing God is contrary to loving Him, but in reality, these two concepts go hand in hand. When we love God, we learn to fear Him in the right way, and when we fear Him, our love for Him grows even more. God does not want us to live with enslaving fear, but with a reverent respect that drives us to draw closer to Him. The Apostle John reminds us in 1 John 4:18, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear." This passage teaches us that God's love frees us from servile fear, but leaves us with the reverent fear that keeps us in humility and devotion before His greatness. Fearing God does not mean living in fear, but having a deep respect and reverence for who He is. It is the beginning of wisdom, the foundation of a holy life, and the key to a genuine relationship with our Creator. It is the fear that makes us walk in His will, turn away from sin, and fully trust in His love. Let us ask God to teach us to fear him as he desires, with a heart that loves him, respects him, and delights in his presence. May we grow in this reverent fear every day so that we may live in the fullness of his grace and truth.